competition that you have to face in school in your academics. And although you don't need to take it very seriously, I kind of find myself taking it very seriously. But uh, as I said before, it is the ability to introspect. So I often find myself introspecting and how I can be better at um, whatever I'm learning, and that's what drives me to study.
Okay, I'll give an advertising example. Anand, one it's a little metaphorical. When we start working on any brand, very often in the day and age that we are, advertising uh, has played a lot of influential roles all over the world, and they have reached a place where quite a few brands are leadership brands. So when you are entering the category you're working, very few times do you get a chance to directly contradict the worldview that the leader is showing. So at that point of time, uh, say for example, when Apple was launched initially, the idea was to uh, completely break away from the norm that was then the accepted one. Uh, Even now, we very oftenly try and do things which are offbeat to create a different world where you are more uh, acknowledged for what you are rather than go by the format that everybody else is drawing for you. So while just to give a couple of examples, there is an Adidas image that we have in our heads. There is a Nike image that we have. There is a Reebok image that we have. Puma image is different. So these are different things that run in our heads because of the kind of effort they have put in. They are all leadership brands in different places all over the world, doing well for themselves. They create new ways to look at things. My provocation to Arush would be, Anand, what could be done? You also did bring in the fact that you got to keep on remembering that there is a life out there. But I want to bring it down to individual uh, effort in doing it. So he put in an effort saying that one has to follow that up or try and do that. What would be a good mindset to have? What can be developed so that the mind is less occupied with, oh, my results are like this or like that? And yeah, these are one of the things that I do. How do we enlarge it? Is there a conscious way to do it? Did you do something like that? Your personal experience which helped you get out of that mindset?
Uh, so I think a good stimulus for me when I was really caught up in dedicating a lot of time to what's happening in colleges, I had few friends of mine who didn't uh, entirely devote themselves to the organization of fests or whatever in college, but they started for personal or material reasons or just for aspirational reasons. They started part-time work and they managed it well alongside college. So at the age of 16 or 17, they managed to get their first salary and they managed to, uh, yeah, basically get get more satisfaction, I'd say, personally in their lives. So, and I am not saying that uh, it is a necessity to earn at that age or to seek outside opportunities to learn, but just to see them working out and then working outside of college. And then if I were to look at our CVs, for all the time I've invested in college, it's a head of this fest and head of that fest, whatever, for stuff that's probably known not outside your college or not known outside of Mumbai. But if I were to look at their CVs, again, I'm not saying this matter should be boiled down to a matter of comparing CVs, but they, professionally and personally, they have a lot more satisfaction in saying, I worked at this company and actually created things of value and also drew more personal satisfaction uh, in doing stuff that they personally liked. So while in college, you may do stuff for being part of the peer group or for getting positions or academics or whatever. Outside of college, they had a larger choice and leeway. There's the whole market outside for you to conquer in terms of doing a vocation that you actually like. So I think that gave me inspiration.
Wow. Arush, that is very interesting. Do you think this talk is making you introspect on this aspect of, okay, maybe you need to widen your circle in terms of looking at life, and not as a because we are saying so, because that would then defeat the very purpose of individual choice. If you really think that you are cut out to be into academics and score big and whatever your reasons, right now I wouldn't expect you to jump out of it and start thinking anew, but just in the sense of expanding your universe, having more life experiences which might uh, give you more options actually to live. Uh, Within advertising, I have felt that working with different agencies gave me that. There was a time in my life, you will not believe this. I was so fed up of doing creative stuff. I wanted to go to a boring place where I did government kind of stuff. Where right now government is far more dynamic these days all over the world. But in our days when we were growing up, it was quite a lot of bureaucratic stuff, things being done in a certain manner daily. So I actually landed up joining a place for a month and a half or 2 months where I didn't want to do anything, any creative. I wanted to do boring stuff. So it also sometimes there is a burnout sense of doing too many good things. Also, I will not deny that there is a joy to systematic approach to things. Uh, of course, I quit within 1.5 months because I just could not stand the boredom. But yeah, do you think what me and Anant are bringing up as points, is it kind of pushing you to introspect a little more, or is it no that these guys have already done it? I need to first get my academics sorted. Is that your thread of thought?
No, I think this discussion is a big reason to introspect for me, and especially because Anand, both of y'all are far more experienced than I am. I wouldn't be ashamed to admit that I haven't really seen what life has to offer because I haven't been provided that platform yet, or I haven't really taken the efforts to get to a platform like that. So I think that this is a good reason to introspect, and it's a great reason to really widen my horizons. And I wouldn't consider anything outside the textbook as something time pass. It is still something to learn, I would consider. Anything that you want to learn needn't necessarily come from a textbook, although the people around me and my environment has kind of propagated that. I have come to a realization that that's not always the case. People kind of give less importance to co-curriculars or something that is more creative and outside your educational environment. But that also is a learning for, in my opinion. It's not something that people should consider as like time pass.
You're talking to a person who's married to a teacher, by the way. So, I have realized I want to. Good that you brought this up because uh, I want to bring in a good word for teachers. Obviously, otherwise I won't be. I will be taken into remand immediately after the podcast is done. Uh, on a serious note, I have had a few friends who've been teachers. It's a beautiful system. With all its drawbacks, I think if one were to remove this unnecessary sense of competition and uh, just saying it like the textbook says, otherwise it's a very good system because there's a lot of caring that the teachers do. They really know your names, they really know what you're going through, they know your potential in what subjects you're doing well and what are the things that you can do. Just that they themselves are part of a system and they get very attached to the finishing of portions within a given time and getting your exam ready. That does not actually make them bad people. It's only much later after my creative uh, journey, I met quite a few people where I realized they bring a certain sense of innocence and naivete, which is not necessarily bad. Uh, it's an old world order in the fast moving technological changes that we are seeing all around us. but at the same time, those guys are equally instrumental in the kind of people you and I become as we go along. I think, is there anything that Anand that we can add to this? For me, these are quite a few points that we've covered in terms of the mindset change. Uh, I want to bring in a little aspect of uh, even copying, which is seen as a particular way of looking at things. Throughout our lives, there is a guy called Desmond Morris who's written books on body language and a book, particularly a book called Man Watching. A lot of it is the study of you got to put your mind to what you're doing. These short-term gains are never useful unless you really understand the context of what the where the subject is coming from or what you're investing yourself in. So my request to people would be, spend time figuring out what you want to do, how you want to do it, much before you are led to those events. Peers, obviously, they are our friends, they guide us, and in fact, they also enlarge our universe. It's not that all of them are academic by nature. Our friends also, because of their different personalities, influence us. But much more so, finding a face of your own is very important. What is it that works for you? And you will find it only after you have a lot of experiences. Anything else that Anand, that you want to add to this?
No, I think you summed it up by saying that despite all the advice and stuff, it's good to obviously have advice, acknowledge the advice, keep it in the back of your mind, but ultimately you have to figure it out for yourself. And for Arush, I'm glad he will be in an environment that is most conducive to it, because he was in the same school as me, and now he's in the same college that I was, which is a good environment to be.
Good. So, Arush, all the best from us. Is there anything you want to add to the conversation?
I think it was a very insightful discussion, and I have learned a lot from it. There were a lot of different perspectives that I came across, and it is really something to think about. And really, it I think it's very important for me now to keep a very open mind and think about what has been discussed in this podcast, and this could possibly change my outlook towards life, which is hopefully for the better.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you ought to do, which I found very useful, was having friends and allowing them to talk about their influences, uh, what makes them them, and you will realize that you actually get attracted to people who are honest to their own true personalities rather than just posturing. Uh, that is an important aspect that worked for me. The inspiration bit just came to mind, which I did not cover later, was um, Anand, because you said that sometimes it's just uh, what is inspirational to one may not be inspirational to another. But because I was supposed to be a man of words, I had a poster on my wall which was from a Porsche ad. Uh, I want to end with those words. They were really powerful. So those that ad read, "Time cannot be influenced by mankind. It gives each of us a beginning and an end, and this makes us question the significance of what comes between. But if we can manage to erode, uh, if we can manage to create something that time cannot erode, which ignores the eccentricities of particular eras or moments, this is the ultimate victory." So after, I think, around 20, 25 years, I remember word for word, it made a huge influence on me in terms of my outlook was these are people, or these are companies, or these are, they have carved a niche for themselves, uh, irrespective of the systems that they belong to or they come from, economic systems and other things. Just the fact that they decided they are going to do something big and good about it, staying true to what I would think is my value that I want to pick out from it. That's something I would want to leave you with, Arush. So thank you for joining us. You are the kind of audience that one has been trying to get. So I'm very happy that we had you today. Please do spread the word with
Thank
your
you.
friends, and all the very best for your exams as well whenever they come.
Thank you.
See you, Anand.
See you.
Bye.